Welcome back to another video, and today I will be discussing my favorite drugstore priced products. So these are products that are currently in my collection. However, this isn't my, how should I say, ultimate drugstore collection or collection favorites video, because there are quite a few drugstore favorites also that I don't currently have. But I wanted to still make this video to show some of the products that I have and perhaps show that with makeup, because there is so much of makeup coming out these days. So, and I think most of us can say that we do like to also spend money on our makeup and maybe buy also something more expensive. However, I wanted to show with this video that you can also get a full face of makeup without having to spend huge fortunes to it. But let's get to the video itself. And I think before we will go through the first brand of drugstore makeup that I will be showing, I will preface by saying this, that I come from Europe. So if you are watching this from the North America, like from the States or from Canada, there might be some brands included here that aren't easily available to you, or vice versa. Some brands, for example, like ColourPop, that I know that is very popular in States and very widely available. That is a brand that I currently don't have any of in my collection, and thus it is not also included in this video. But for the first brand, so first I will be discussing my two favorites with Catrice that I currently have. So first I will be showing the blushes that I chose for this. So these are the airbrush blushes, and I think these days they have actually two formulas. So I noticed that when I got the more orangey one, which I think is this one, when I got the more orangey one in the shade Peach Passion, this actually says that it's a glow formula, versus this one, which is Cloud Wine, which is a more matte. But I haven't noticed the differentiation between these two, so I can just show here. The Cloud Wine looks like this one, and this is a very beautiful wine colored, especially if you like this more wine mauve colored blush, then I'd say this is definitely a recommendation, a favorite from my collection. And then I will show the Peach Passion. So this was actually from their fall edit. So Catrice does two bigger launches 2 times a year. They do the spring edit and the fall edit, so this is from the fall edit. But yeah, I'd say if you're looking for good blushes from drugstore, then these two are definitely a good option, and I think the formula is quite consistent across all shades, because the Cloud Wine, which is the more mauve shade that I have, it's a bit older, but I think the formula is still consistent also with the newer orangey one that I have. Next one is also, this is actually a new product from them. So these are their dupes for the Givenchy lip oils or lip balms. But anyway, yeah, if you have seen the Givenchy, the original product that this is duping, then you know what I'm talking about. And this is called, the Catrice version is called Marble-Licious. So I'm gonna see and if you're wondering, I'm filming actually with a new camera, so I have now a separate vlogging camera, so this is also a bit nervous and exciting to see how the video quality will come out with this one. But yeah, so I have the shade, which one was this? Oh, 020, Don't Slurp So Loud. So they have quite a few of these. This isn't the most opaque lip product you will get, so even though this looks quite dark in the tube, it gives a little bit of color, but it's a very sheer. But why I recommend these, let's just say above perhaps some other lip products, is that these feel very comfortable on the lips. They have this very nice cooling effect when you initially put them, but it's not in an unpleasant way where it starts stinging your lips or anything. So for me this just feels very hydrating and very nice. However, something I think you should consider with this one, that if you eat or drink or do anything else, then you will have to reapply this during the daytime. But regardless of some of the minus points that this gets, because it isn't the most long-lasting of lip products, I do think this is one of the better lip products that Catrice has come out with. Next brand is a W7. So W7 is an UK-based, more affordable drugstore brand, and from them I also have cheek products and lip products to show as my current drugstore favorites. So the blushes, there's actually two of them because I wanted to sort of include two different formulas. So these are the boxed blushes, and if you don't know, W7 is a dupe brand. They do have also some original products, but most of their stuff is duping more expensive things. But anyway, so I will first, so this is the Benefit dupe and this is the NARS sort of orgasm dupe, and I will first go through the box blushes. So they have quite a few shades of this. I have this one which is in the Lotus packaging, and then I have the one that has the strawberry on the packaging, and I'm gonna just show the shade. So this is beautiful, more neutral pinky blush, and this has been something that I've been using now when it's been more sort of fall vibes. And why I like these, why I think these are good, the box ones are good if you like a more pigmented blush. So these are more pigmented, I can say it based on trying this one and the strawberry one that is somewhere in my makeup drawers. So if you're looking for a more pigmented drugstore blush that still is something you will be able to blend out, then pick the boxed ones. However, if you're looking for a more sort of blendable and buildable drugstore option for blushes, then I would go for these NARS dupes. Now, unlike with the boxed blushes, with these ones that are duping the NARS blushes, these they only have 3 shades available at least. That's the situation in my country. I don't know if you live in UK, for example, that do they have a wider shade range. And I'm gonna now show the shade. I'm trying to cover the mirror. So this is how so very beautiful gold sheen on top of this sort of peachy colored, I'd say it's somewhere between a peach and a red. And like I said, I like this one because this is a more buildable formula. So with this one you do have to build it a little bit, but I know there are also a lot of people generally who don't want this super pigmented blush. They want something that's more easily to control and manage when you apply them. So for that, for those people, I would definitely recommend the NARS dupes from them. Now the lip recommendation I have from the brand. So this will be going after my lip declutter. So if you have watched my lip product declutter, which is available in my channel now, you know that I spoke very highly of these lip liners. So these are their traditional sort of sharpenable lip liners, and I'm gonna take the caps off. So, and let's see if the camera can focus on them. Yeah, so this is how they look like, and what I said on my lip product declutter video is that these are, you first of all you get a lot of products. I have of course used mine, so that is why mine's also look, when you look at the length of them, you will know that I have used them a lot. But if you buy the product on store or order it online, you get first of all a very long pencil. And the second what I like about this is that it's very creamy, the formula is very pigmented, and you do get a quite, they are very easy to work with. If you don't like a super creamy lip liner, then these aren't for you, but if you're looking for a very affordable, blendable and a very creamy lip liner, then I'd say these are definitely a recommendation. And just because you get the amount of product that you get with these, I just don't think you can beat these. Next, I will show from a few products that I only have one per brand. So this is what I chose from NYX. So I mentioned in my cheek product declutter that these sort of contour stick products aren't my favorite. For example, I have been trying now the Catrice stick contour that came with their fall edit, and for example that I have not been liking that much, but I do say that the NYX one is probably the best one in terms of affordable ones. So this is how it looks like, and this is the lightest shades that they have within this line. And why, for example, I like this a lot is that I think the shade match is quite good. So I have rosy cool undertone on my skin. So for someone with a fair skin who has a rosy cool undertone, this sort of a grey cool toned contour looks very nice. And what I like about the NYX product is particularly that how easily it is to blend. So what I like to do with this kind of product is that I apply some of it from in the palm of my hand, and then I tap my brush to it and start spreading it. I don't like to... I have tried with this one where you just draw the line to your cheeks and then blend it, but I find it that often you still find, even though you would blend and blend, I still find some like not nice looking lines in my cheek. So that is why I have felt that the best way to work with this is to apply first small amount to the palm of my hand and then spread it with the brush, so with that way there aren't strange lines on top of your skin. The highlighter that it has, it's this golden silvery highlighter. It's not my favorite. I think with the highlighter there's the issue that it's almost like too emollient, meaning that once you get it on top of your skin, for me at least, it feels like it already like starts a bit breaking down, and I feel that the cream highlighter actually breaks the makeup underneath it. So the cream highlighter is something that I don't like to use, but the cream contour, in terms of contour stick, I think is still one of my favorites from the NYX products, even though it is not my favorite format of putting cream bronzer or cream contour. So next is a mascara, and this is the only mascara in the video. So this is something that I mentioned in my roundup review. I think it was already I think a month ago, and this is the Maybelline mascara. The name of this, I believe, is Falsies Surreal, and the only thing that I said on my roundup review is that don't buy this for the waterproof claim. It is not that waterproof. We are getting in my country the time of the year where there is quite a lot of, there's rain, there is some sleet, and then there is some snow coming occasionally. So the weather is quite changing, and I have seen in few more wetter days when I've used this that I will still get crumbles under my eye. However, if we ignore the waterproof claim, I do think that this is a very good drugstore mascara. It is a more plumping formula, and I think that's more due to the fact that the formula is a bit drier, and the brush shape is... The brush is sort of straight, so it's not an hourglass form, or it's not this sort of triangle, but it's quite like even all over. And I wouldn't say that the Maybelline mascara still beats the Essence Essence Princess mascara that I like, because that mascara has more of a triangle shaped brush. I do feel that I get more separation with that one. But I do say that if you like a volumizing mascara that gives you like very big looking nice lashes, then this is definitely a very good recommendation. And I was a bit concerned, and I mentioned this on my roundup review, that is this gonna dry down quickly, because the formula was already quite dry when I opened this the first time. It does dry down a little bit, but it's not the issue that I, for example, had with the L'Oreal Lush Paradise mascara, where it dried down like in a couple of weeks when I opened this. So this, by now, I have used this almost like soon. It's gonna be like 2 months, so soon I will be throwing this away and I will be opening a new mascara. But I think that even though the formula has dried down a bit, it's not something that makes it unusable, and you will get a couple of months use out of this if you use it daily. Next, let's talk about MUA. I believe it's MUA Makeup Academy is the whole brand name. So this is another UK based brand, and from them, let's see, let's go to cheek products first. This is the first brand that I also have an eyeshadow palette from, but from their sort of cheek products, and I have to be careful that I don't drop this, because this is already broken, and this is the unfortunate downside when you have a drugstore makeup. Sometimes the packaging is very cheap. So this is their highlighter, and this is for those of you who really like... I'm just gonna take the cap off of it because it's broken. So this is their sort of highlighters, and they have quite a shade range of these. In my country, unfortunately, there is quite a limited shade range of these, but if you look from their website, there's a lot of these. And this is for those of you also who, if you have been looking for some of those indie brand highlighters that shift, some of these, not all of them, but some of these have these sort of shifting properties, and this has sort of nice gold to peach shift to it, and this is just it's very smooth on the skin. Even though it's one of the more blingy highlighters, it still doesn't make your skin look like that it has a lot of texture to it. And I just say, let's see, I don't think the camera will be able to pick up the shift, but as you can see, it's a very beautiful, beautiful baked formula, and this is definitely has been one of those highlighters that I have been using a lot, and I have taken this to traveling with me quite a lot. But unfortunately, like I said, the packaging, because it's cheap, it breaks easily, and I think that's something that you just have to consider when buying it. But the highlighter formula itself, it's very beautiful, and it's very, very effortless to use. Now for the first palette of the video. So this is sort of the MUA's, I think this is their like main sort of stable line of palettes. So they have these sort of limited edition palettes that are in a cardboard packaging, and then they have these sort of mainline packaged palettes that are in the see-through plastic packaging. And even though the packaging is very flimsy, it's very light, it's like very cheap drugstore plastic, actually the shadows inside, so the version I have is Blushing Nudes, and I'm gonna get this now open. And here, and this is one of my absolute favorites from the drugstore like palette. So the price of this, I think in my country, is like under the price of it is under 10 euros, I think, and that of course can depend on where you live. If you're buying this from UK, the pound price, most of it is probably lower, and from other countries it can vary about depending on the conversion. But what I particularly is that aside from the fact that the mattes work amazing, they are like, they beat even some of my more expensive mattes in terms of how easy they are to work with, but also the fact that these shimmers are just wonderful. I can just swatch few of the shimmers to my fingers to sort of show how beautiful those are. Let's see, can I do actually we're doing live swatching for the first time, folks, so sorry if it's not the most smoothest of operation, but let's see. You might or might not be able to see it. I think the lighting conditions might be a bit difficult. I will have to see if I will be editing the hand swatches out of the video later, but yeah. So what particularly impressed me with this palette, aside from the fact that the mattes are pretty amazing, is also the fact that the shimmers are like one of the best shimmers that I have tried, hands down, if we just forget the price of it. And it's quite amazing to me that there are much more expensive brands charging much more from eyeshadow that has much poorer quality. Of course, like I mentioned, the packaging is what it is, but I do think that the palette, these palettes, if you are able to find them and they are easily available to you, I would definitely recommend trying them. Of course, also see that the color story is something that you will get use out of. They also have 5-pan versions of these, so I would also, if you don't want to buy a bigger one, look for the 5 pans and maybe try one of those and see what you think about the formula. But yeah, definitely a drugstore recommendation in terms of eyeshadow. And this is another palette because, yeah, even though the packaging is a bit flimsy, this is also very thin, so this is actually something that I also travel with quite a lot. Next, let's go to Kiko Milano. So Kiko is an Italian drugstore brand. However, I will note that why there isn't a lot of Kiko products, even though I generally do like their brand a lot, is that Kiko is from the expensive side of the drugstore. That does show in the quality of their products. However, because this is about the best affordable drugstore makeup that I have in my collection, I did have to take into consideration that are there products in terms of quality and price in this video that I should rank highly, because for example they are more affordable but they basically get the same job done as, for example, a Kiko Milano product that is priced a bit higher. But with Kiko, definitely I think because they are more expensive, for example, their packaging is much better than usually a lot of other drugstore products. But what I chose for this video are the glosses. So these are their new 3D glosses, and I bought mine recently when I was on a trip to Brussels, and the shade I have is the shade 18 and the shade 11. I'm just trying to see, do they yeah, so Kiko has a very strange, they actually do have shade names for these, but for example, to the packaging they only print the shade numbers. So the hot pink one, which has a gold shift, is 11, and then this sort of champagne brown one is 18. But you will be able to see from their website the corresponding shade names. And this is the one that I have opened, however, I'm assuming that the pink one is in the same formula. And what I like about these is that they are just, for example, the shine on these is very beautiful, and these feel very, very nice on the lips. And I did make the comparison in my lip product declutter video, if you have watched it, that these are on par, for example, with the Fenty lip glosses that are sort of my ultimate favorite gloss formula. Because I just think that these are so smooth, these aren't sticky, and the shine these have is very beautiful. They have sort of more sparkly ones in this range, but they also have this sort of more like traditional sheen glosses. So if you don't like sparkle in your lip glosses, then they also have options for you. But yeah, these were so good that Kiko actually, when I'm still filming this, they are still having their Black Friday Friday sale going. Though when this is posted, I'm not sure if the sale is already over. However, I like this so much that I actually, when I made an order from the Kiko's Black Friday sale, I actually ordered one more shade of these because I have been liking the gloss so much. And I think with these ones, these are worth paying the bit more, like sort of not the like high-end price, but higher drugstore price compared to some other drugstore glosses. So next we're going to go to the second to last brand of this video. So we're talking next about Makeup Revolution, or Revolution Beauty, I think that is the official brand name now. And from them there are two products that I will be mentioning. These are both cheek products. So the first one is their cream bronzer. So this one, and if you have watched my cheek product declutter, I'm not gonna even try to attempt to open this because I will need a knife to get this open, because the clasp in this, there isn't enough space to put your fingernail or anything. You really do have to get this open with a knife or something. I really wish that they would redo this packaging, making the dent between the cap and the sort of compact bit more bigger, or some other mechanism to make this easier to open. However, if we forget the issue that I have with packaging, I do think that this is definitely one of the better drugstore cream bronzers. And the shade, I have the lightest one, so I think this is, yeah, it's just called Light. The undertone of this is a bit wrong for me, so with this one I do have to be a bit careful how much I apply, because the undertone is tad too warm toned and tad to, I'd say, yellow undertone for me. So if I'm not careful, this will look funny. However, this is very creamy, this is very blendable, and that is why even I can use this, even though the undertone of this is a bit off for me. And I do believe they offer 5 or 6 shades of this, and I do think that the darkest shade, for example, is quite dark. So even though there isn't like a lot of shade in this, I do think that the gradient of the shade range they have is sufficient enough to cover enough different type of skin tones. But definitely, I know when this was released, this got a lot of hype on YouTube and on social media, and I do think this is one of the few, like, well, there are quite a lot of products that are worth the hype, and then there's quite a lot of products come out that aren't worth the hype, but this is one of the products that I definitely think that has been worth the hype, and something that I would recommend if you are able to get this easily. The second products that I will be featuring are this one. So again, if you have been watching my cheek product declutter, you know that I raved quite a lot about these. So for me, these are definitely like probably gonna be one of my top cheek products generally this year. And what I like about this sort of mousse cream cheek blush is that this is quite pigmented, and with a denser brush this applies very nicely. You can also apply this with a finger. I usually don't like to use my fingers with cream products, but with this one, finger is also works very well. But particularly with the denser blush brush, you are able to build this into a very opaque layer, and this is also something that dries more matte. So after you have blended this out, this isn't something that's gonna dry like super quickly, so you don't have to worry with these that you have to very like work fast with them when you get them onto your skin. You do get some working time with these, which is like an additional bonus, considering that this is quite often matte cheek product once you get this onto your skin. But yeah, I'd say that because of the pigmentation and how easy this is to work with, and also because the end result of this is this very sort of bright pigmented blush that I like, then this is also definitely something that I would recommend from the brand. If you don't like a super pigmented liquid or cream blush, then this is probably not for you, but for me, because of the formula and how the end result is, this is why it ranks very highly in my sort of drugstore makeup collection. And for the last brand of the day, and probably you've been wondering if you have watched like any of my declutter videos or any of my previous videos, you're probably wondering when is the BeautyBay products gonna come up because I have those quite a lot. And obviously I was going to include, so from BeautyBay, I have tried their lip products, I have tried some of their skincare, I have tried some of their cheek products, and I think those are okay, but particularly what I think that the brand shines with are their sort of palettes. So I took the 3, and I'm not almost fitting in the frame with the 3, but well, we'll have to live with that. So I took the 3 16-pan ones that I have in my collection. I do also have 2 of their 42-pan ones, so I have the pink palette and then the earthy palette. However, I didn't want to dig those out from my eyeshadow drawer, so these were the 3 ones that are easily like available, and I think were enough to make a point in the video. And why I think BeautyBay is like one of the best options if you're looking for affordable drugstore eyeshadows first is that they offer a wide range of palettes. They have rainbow palettes, they have neutral palettes, they have more colorful palettes. I can, for example, show the... So this is the Midnight palette. This is from their like more colorful range of products, and I'm gonna see how we're gonna be fitting the best. And you can see from here beautiful purples, blues, silvers, and like I said, I have the very big pink palette that has only pinks, and then the earthy palette that has both greens, mustards and reds. And I'm just gonna put this closer so you will be able to see how beautiful these are. So you have colorful options with them, but you also have more neutral options. So this is for example, their sort of cool toned neutral palette that they have. So again, very like their formula is also a second thing why I had to include them in this is that their formula is very consistent. So across their more colorful and these more neutral palettes, the formula is very consistent. The mattes are very easy to work with, they blend, you can layer them. Their shimmers, they have 2 types of shimmer formula which I can actually demonstrate. So this sort of the cool toned neutral one has these more sort of satin shades, and then I'm gonna quickly show the burgundy tone. This is their like sort of newest permanent line of palettes that they came out with, is the more burgundy toned one, and I will be swatching the more shiftier, no shifty shiny shades. They don't have these sort of, well, I think their newest like palette had these sort of duochromes in them, but I haven't got that one because I don't collect the limited edition palettes anymore. But as you can see, there is like the more sort of glittery formula in this finger, and then there's the more sort of satin formula, and I can maybe do an arm swatch, and I don't know how much the camera is washing out the shade right now, but anyway, yeah. So that is also the second reason, is that aside from the mattes, their shimmers, even the more satiny ones, they are very buildable, they are you get very opaque end result, and then the more glittery ones are very shiny and very glimmery. So yeah, so because of the versatility, because of how easy the formula is to work with and sort of options that you get with them, I think it was like it was a deserved place for the BeautyBay brand to, like, for me to include their eyeshadow palettes. And especially when I was still sort of studying in university, and that is when BeautyBay sort of started coming out also with their own products. They used to only sell like other brands, but now they have their own line of makeup too that they sell on their website. So for me, BeautyBay was one of those brands. They were really good brands to start out with when you didn't have a big makeup collection. And I would actually very warmly recommend that if you're someone who wants to try out a color story, but for example, you don't want to go and spend the money on this very expensive, like higher end palette that's cost like 60 or 70 or 80 euros that they're going by these days, I would definitely recommend starting out with the BeautyBay palettes, because I do think that those are a good way to start with, and you will see then that is the color story something that you will use, and is it something that you want to spend the extra cash to buy maybe the more expensive version. But I think the BeautyBay palettes on their own, without comparing them to any other brand, I think that those are palettes that you will also be just happy with without having to think about buying more expensive brands. So yeah, so BeautyBay was the last brand in this video. Phew, so that was the final one. So what did you think about my drugstore choices? Comment down below what have been your sort of favorite drugstore products or brands that you have been using lately, or you have constantly in your collection. What are maybe some of your drugstore staples that you can't go without? And generally, are you like more of a drugstore person, or do you like spending money to more higher end makeup, or do you prefer buying like indie brands? I'm honestly a person who likes my options, so as you have probably seen from my videos, I do buy quite a lot from all sorts of brands in different price categories. So for me, it's not about generally the price, it's more about the experience and how the product actually performs. But I do think that it's very good that we have, for example, these days, more good drugstore options, because, for example, when I was still in secondary school, I started using makeup when I was, I think, around I think it was around 13, 14 years old, and then when I went to high school, and then even when I started in university, for example, where I come from, our drugstore makeup options, they weren't very good. Like, you had to just like Makeup Revolution, even though their quality, I know these days, well, these days some of their products have been very good and I have featured them in my videos, but for example in my university time it was worth ordering Makeup Revolution from the UK, because it was one of the few good, like, it was at least decent drugstore makeup compared to what was available from me locally. And similarly, for example, when I mentioned in my palette declutter video, I think that Colourpop was a brand that was worth back then ordering all the way from States, because there wasn't that many options. But these days I do think that even for me, where I live, there's now much more better drugstore options, not only in terms of eyeshadow palettes, but also generally in terms of foundations, blushes, highlighters and bronzers, and you really don't have to pay arm and a leg to get a good nice makeup look, because there are just these much more better affordable drugstore options. But yeah, I think I might be doing an high-end video too at some point, and maybe an indie video, because I have been also collecting now indie makeup for a couple of years now, so I have also like quite good understanding now what I like from indie brands and what I don't. But anyway, I'm very happy that you watched my video, and I hope I will see you in the next video. And sorry about all the hassle if you saw it in the video. Like I said, I have a new camera, so I am still learning to using it, but I hope we will get better in that. But yeah, that was all today, and I hope you have a good day wherever you are. Bye bye!